Welcome to Shop Talk, where you get my honest opinion on current events, life, and sports. Let's get into it. Today, we want to speak about the Voting Rights Act that was shot down by the Supreme Court. They just trying to peel back the layers and have us go into Jim Crow 2.0. This is what white elites do once they are losing control. So they try to burn everything down. If it don't go their way, it's just they've always been barbaric like this. And so, you get tired of seeing the tweets from different people in the Democratic Party and stuff like that. It's we need an overhaul. That's what I would see for the near future. We need an overhaul in the Congress and in the Senate. The two-party system not getting it. They actually not listening to the workforce at all on no level. They're trying to usher in AI. When you see things like ChatGPT and stuff like that, that's not for us to embrace because they're actually anti-workforce. These big corporations, these lawmakers, they're in cahoots to roll back everything. That's why I said in previous videos that we can't be surprised by what they're going to do. They're going to go to great lengths. They don't have like a line where they say that they won't cross. And I see down there the horrible governor in Louisiana, Jeff Landry. He knew early voting had started, and he know people not in favor of what they're doing. So you scrape the May 16th date so you can redraw the maps. That's just the white supremacy that's going on every day in this country. That white people have to confront themselves. We always say, they always ask us as black people, why y'all make everything about race? We don't. It's actually y'all. You keep putting barriers in our way, trying to stop us from voting and stuff like that. It's just like Jim Crow 2.0. And you're trying to dress it up like it's not racial, but it really is. Because if a vote is not powerful, why would you suppress it? I don't want to infringe on nobody's rights. That's the type of person I am. I don't want to infringe on nobody's rights or their happiness. So imagine you saying that, and then you go and be a lawmaker and you do the exact same opposite of what you're saying. If you're saying it's not about race, you should be able to draw the maps where it's equal to everyone. You wanted to have it to where it's just only white people voting. And even white people are getting sick of it themselves. I'm pretty sure they was back then. But it's just a constant effort to roll back rights for Americans. The six justices. It's always the six justices. And the newest one, before Ketanji Brown, Amy Coney Barrett is from Louisiana. Make that make sense. She's from Louisiana. She has her own street in Metairie, named after her. And you're stripping the rights of black people. She has a black child that she adopted. That's why people gotta realize, I know we all enjoying whatever we got going on, but this system that we all a part of, it has to be dismantled. It has to be dismantled. It's not going to get better until we want to see it get better. I know they got the strike that's coming up. No school, no shopping. You're not going to get everyone to be on the same page in this country. It's truly impossible. The Big Beautiful Bill was the greatest wealth transfer in American history. The 1 percentile has everything. The big corporations, it's all about exploiting labor. That's all it's about. And until we recognize that, we see that, we got our platforms that we all can use, and it's just like they keep us distracted with stuff that keep us in competition. We set up like press conferences to sign up for debt. We celebrate debt. We'll try to shine on somebody who doesn't have a mortgage, but it's like you're still celebrating debt. And that's the way they keep us bickering, thinking we better than the next and all this stuff here with material things. When there's no wealth and nothing, that the goal is for us to always be renting, never owning. That is the goal. Why haven't a president got a plan together where they say, let's get rid of 30-year mortgages. Let's slice them in half to 15. Let's stop keep talking. We always talking about create jobs. Let's create jobs that have livable wages. Let's have universal health care. Let's have FMLA for both parties. Child care. All that's getting out of control. Mondami, what he's doing in New York, that's what people want. All the billionaires said, oh, we're going to leave once he's sworn and all. They still living in New York. New York to raise $80 billion in revenue since Mondami has taken over. The Democrats don't want to say it, but Mondami and the governor in Virginia, they're the future of the party. That's the progressive movement I was telling people about. That has to happen. The Schumers and the Jeffries and the Pelosi's, y'all got to get out the way. The Clyburns, y'all done had y'all time. We respect what y'all have done for Americans, but you got to know when to pass the torch. If you're in a relay and you holding the torch, the baton to give to the next person, how will the race keep going? The race can't go until you pass the baton. But it's too much bickering on ground zero. With the workforce, with Americans who know you more closer to being poor than you ought to being a millionaire, billionaire. All these financial gurus telling people you should be able to do this, you should have this. It's not that easy. They're taking people credit. They're knocking it down. I know this personally. It's happening in my household. It's happening all over the country. People having millions of dollars in credit. They taking it. So what is a person to do? We can't keep going back to the drawing board saying it's going to get better. No, what's going on has to be dismantled. You're fighting against the Epstein class. These people was raping kids and doing money laundering through Bitcoin, Coinbase. All that is money laundering through the stock market. That's why the dollar is losing value every day. Long as the Straits of Hormuz is closed, Americans have lost that war. America has lost that war. Iran calling the shots. But it's ego. Another white man. It's ego. Can't get out the way. They don't like him. They know he didn't win the election. He's never won any election. But it all goes back to what the Democrats was doing. Biden, you and Merrick Garland, y'all failed Americans. Yes, you've done great things, but it was time for you to fight for the American people. You gave him the keys to the house, and so you ignored intelligence. Intelligence told you that he had interfered with everything. They even told you. You know, it's like people just scared to acknowledge it. It's like, I can say it freely. And if y'all still getting on y'all platform saying she lost, she didn't. That's not right what they did yesterday, but we talking about America. It's the land of greed and racism. Ain't no home of the brave. Look how they do the military. Them people make sure we're able to live our lives. I'm a spouse of a military veteran. They've been doing the military dirty for years. It's nothing new. Most people join the military, you had to fight for the country, but to further their education. They go to fight wars, they come back, you know, they deal with PTSD. They throw them to the wayside. When people deal with homelessness, they wind up killing themselves and stuff like that. This country always made other countries out to be the enemy, and the enemy has always been within. On the local levels, these governors, they're doing his bidding. They're white supremacists just like he is. Jeff Landry is a white supremacist. They don't like to be called out for who they are. You do white supremacy things and then don't want to be called that. That's not how I go, Jeff Landry. Everyone is bickering with one another. Everything is about keeping black people at a certain threshold, keeping poor white and disenfranchised people at a certain threshold. It has to stop when we want it to stop. That's why I say it's going to be 9/11 2.0 in America. America has to be overthrown for them to see these wages, they're not even livable. Your check gone before you even touch it. They just put your name on a check because you work for it. And they eating it up with FICA and Medicaid and this and that and insurance and all this stuff here. By the time you get your check, you pay 2 or 3 bills, you back to square A. But it's the people on ground zero that's bickering with each other, talking about, I ain't broke. You ain't rich. That's for damn sure. When you come to the realization and see that a lot of us have been played, that's when you start paying attention and taking heed to what people tell you. If you got a platform, whether you're selling clothes or you're doing whatever, you need to tell people how important it is to go vote. I don't care where you're at in America. Use your platform. People listen to you. They buy from you and stuff like that. Use your platform to get the word out. I always say social media is a gift and a curse. Social media has a lot of good. Social media has a lot of bad. But I'd rather the good outweigh the bad. People mobilizing. Like, we're not going to get out of this just sitting around talking in front phones and stuff. It's about mobilizing, plot, planning, and strategizing. You know? Every week is something new. Every week. You can't really go a week without something. If it's not some killing of the women, it's the wall, it's the Voting Rights Act. Every week is something new. To God gonna get the glory. And people gonna see things with their own 2 eyes that we never seen before. That's why I'm not living in fear. That's just the real part of it. I'm not living in fear. I don't want to be a part of evil. I don't want to be a part of hate. That's not in my heart. And you talking about somebody that's hot-headed. I go from zero to evil. But I'm not going to let hate and evil consume me. Whether in my family or whatever I got going on in my life, I'm not going to let it consume me. I'd rather put it all in God's hand and leave it at that. I'm going to keep moving. If anyone has an issue with me or anything, you just have an issue with me. I'm going to keep moving for me and mine. But as long as bread is in my body, I'm going to let people know what is really going on. This not sometimes that we've been in before. This has always been the plan. Roll back things. They got white supremacists in the Supreme Court. They everywhere. Look at the case with collusion in the NFL. 594 players. I don't know if you guys watch podcasts. Pablo Toro Finds Out. It's a podcast on ESPN. Well, he does investigations. He the one blew an open investigation about the Epstein files with certain guys that was in them. Yeah, if you a YouTuber like I am, you always on there, check out Pablo Torre Finds Out. I'm a podhead either way it goes. Definitely a fan of Joe Budden, Grits and Eggs podcast. Let's rap about it. It's a lot of podcasts that I watch. Jam, those young fellas out of Chicago. I do a lot of research and stuff like that, so I don't be spreading disinformation. Because if I'm doing it, what makes me different than Fox News and the right-wing media and all that? And we got to get rid of all that. That left-wing, you left side, you right side, you middle. No, it's about the people that's in this country that want to have prosperity as well. But the exploitation of labor has to come to an end. That's one of the biggest problems. You want the NFL players, y'all was colluding against them. You was actually colluding against Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, and Kyler Murray when they were up for a contract. whenever there's ultra white wealthy men in positions of power, it's gonna always be corruption and criminality. They can't live without chaos. They fundraise off it. It's the good old boy club. You done the same thing with the WNBA. You was hiding your earnings from the WNBA players. You saying, oh, the WNBA not making money. Well, all of a sudden y'all came to the table. Now players are getting $1 million contracts and stuff. That's because when you fight, you gonna win. The lawyer Mark Elias, he's fighting him every day in court because he's trying to dismantle this democracy. He fighting E. Jean Carroll, the woman he raped. They shot that down. He still owed the $90 million. America's problem has always been the same men. Slapping them on their hand. And they pay that person off, go back, do the same thing again. I don't need another bombshell. I know Epstein isn't dead. I know he's still calling the shots. I know the ring's still going. If you on YouTube, tell people the truth. Don't give them half truths. And if YouTube run you off of that, you know you're doing something right. But people need the honest truth. What's really going on? Everybody not tuned into politics. At one point I wasn't. But I know it affects things. Politics affects my kids. They put a ruling down for the services, for the kids with special needs. That's politics. I love watching Gary Chambers. He always informative about letting us know what's going on. You got to do your part. Nobody's better than the next. But you got to get out your own way. Stop thinking you're more than what you are. And stop thinking material things make us better than the next. It's because your vocabulary better than the next. You're not better than that person. We got a whole lot of work to do because they're not going to stop. They're going to try to hold on to power because they don't want to go to jail for the rest of their lives. This ring they have to be arrested, the whole thing. It's people we all love that we can't believe name going to come out to the surface and we going to be shocked. Our jaws going to drop. But guess what? Any crime against a child or woman, that go for us all. We all have women in our lives that if you've done a crime against that woman, you have to be held accountable. Me or any man across the board. We can't keep saying, oh, I lost my cool and stuff like that. And before I know that, I put my hand, we got to stop it. That go for me or anyone. Any kind of rhetoric that you're going to say you could do something to a woman or you're doing something to a child, you have to be held accountable. We all have too much to offer them to be sitting up in this system that they have us in behind bars and you know, for 60, 70 years for a mistake that you just made, because we all made mistakes every day. But I don't know if you all been paying attention to the playoffs, but we've been having some great NBA matchups, especially with the I think it's the Pistons and the Magic the other night. Last night had a nail bite. I think it was 114, 109, somewhere up in there when I watched it. And then Cade Cunningham, of course, he came through in the clutch like he has. I was saying yesterday, I think Detroit needs another scorer. But, you know, anytime when you're in a series, you make adjustments in the series. So if you noticing that, if we noticing that and we the consumer, I'm pretty sure the coach noticing that also. So you just get some motions and some flex settings where you could get them off the ball or stuff like that. But you get other guys involved as well, like Jalen Duren. I mean, you was balling, dude, this whole, you're looking at about a $200 million contract. So, you know, you got to get the guys back involved with the rotation. You know, I don't understand why y'all condense the rotation in the playoffs. If you were playing 9 or 10 guys in the season, play those same 9 or 10 guys in the playoffs. Do what you did to get there. Why change just because of the playoffs? The series with the Knicks and the Hawks. I think the Knicks up 3-2 right now. I think tonight they play in Atlanta. I think they play in New York. So you don't know. Maybe they might close it out. Maybe C.J. McCollum and Jalen Johnson might go crazy again. But Minnesota and Denver. I think I see what one of the guards, DiVincenzo, he gonna be out the rest of the season. I think he tore his Achilles. I think Andy Edwards gonna be missing some time as well. So we'll see if them guys can close Denver out. But without those guys, them scores like that, maybe Ayo, the guard, he had 43 the other night. Maybe he'll go crazy again. But as long as you making Denver play defense, that's their weakness. So and I see LeBron and the Lakers didn't get to close Houston out last night. So maybe they'll try to get it done. I see KD not playing again. He's not playing in Game 6 as well. So to me, just being a consumer, looking at how it's going, I don't know if it's going to be true. But if they not letting them play, maybe they're going to trade him again. They're going to trade him in the offseason. But they probably saying you can't lead a team anymore. You got to be the second or third option. So if he not playing, that's more than, I know he has an ankle injury that he sustained in practice, I think last week or week before. And so if he's not playing, I think that's a bad ankle injury. But if it's not a bad ankle injury, I think Houston ready to move on from Kevin Durant already. I could be wrong, but if it happens, you can't say that he did say that. My boy, who I keep telling people, the face of the NBA, Shai Alexander, he unbelievable. I mean, look at the numbers he's shooting from the field. You're shooting 57%. You shooting from the field what centers can't shoot from the free throw line. I mean, he's breaking all kind of records. I know guys probably saying, but he's from Canada. How can he be the face of the NBA? He is the face of the NBA. He has it all. He got the game. He got the swag. He got everything. And he just a joy to watch. I don't know how any person could even make a case for someone else being a face of the NBA. You might say Andy Edwards, but y'all know with being a face of the NBA, you can't really have off-court issues and stuff like that. And, you know, he's not perfect, but, you know, things have been documented that's going on in his life. That ain't saying that just because Shai don't have that, he's a better person than Andy Edwards. It's just saying, you know how the leagues go. You know, they gonna put the guy in the forefront that's more family oriented and stuff like that. So, but Shai is the truth. There's two teams I see that could possibly match up with them. That's for sure San Antonio, because Wemby is an alien. They won this series the other night. Wemby had 7 blocks. I don't even know how you shoot over Wemby. Like, so if they meet up and San Antonio beats OKC, I can see San Antonio being the champs because they are a good team, and Wemby is, and to me he's still playing on raw talent. But he's 7'5". I don't even know how you even shoot the ball over Wemby. He's really an alien to me. He's a UFO on the court. And they be saying, I ain't never seen an alien play basketball. That's who Wemby is. That's exactly who Wemby is. And so I always say I don't have nothing else but this platform besides X and Instagram. But I make sure every week I make sure I get the courage to be on and let people know certain things. I do this just for my sanity. I'm not caught up in analytics or stuff of that nature. I'm doing things just for my sanity. It's something I was supposed to do in 2012 before people even knew what a podcast was, even knew that's a word. I've been putting it off all this time. And so I say, what better time than now? Because, you know, there's just a certain time where you can say it was perfect timing. You know, you could say, oh man, I should have did it then, I should have did it then. God always do things on his own time. It's just you gotta have the courage to get up and do it. You know, my grandma always used to say, you make one step, he'll make another one for you. And so I don't really get too much feedback and stuff like that, and it doesn't bother me at all. I really I don't put expectations on anything, that way I won't be disappointed. I'm not going into something thinking it's gonna happen overnight. I just want to just have my own platform where I'm delivering the news that I want to hear, not the watered down stuff. I'm talking about the news that I want to hear, that I know is true, that people need to know, and you tuning in, making sure. And so signing off. Like, follow, subscribe on YouTube at Shop Talk 84. On Instagram at contact_CO. That's KONTACK_CO. On X, that's contact_CO. That's KONTACK_CO. And until next time, be patient with one another. We all dealing with something. Let's be patient with one another and realize we all snap about certain things. I'm one of them. You know, you gotta get, sometimes we gotta get away from things that's gonna trigger us. I know what my triggers are, and so I know what type of person I am. So let's try to be patient and compassionate with one another. Let's stop sitting around gossiping about things. That's for me on down. I'll never say something to people and not include myself. And so love on our parents while we still have them. Let's love on our parents while we still have them. You know, I got friends and family they don't have their parents to call and stuff like that. So let's love on our parents while we still have them. Let's love on each other while we still have one another. You know, you'll never want to have an issue with someone and then you get the phone call, God done called them home. So, you know, anything that I've said to anyone in the past, I can get on the phone and apologize, but at the same time, I know eventually time heals everything. But I said all that to say this. I appreciate everyone tuning in from wherever you at, and I'll see you next week.